So today, my daughter Callan was having a birthday party. Her birthday was on the 15th. She was having a birthday party today up in Greensboro. Me and Bree got together and we on our way to Greensboro. I had to stop in the Concord Mills Mall here in Charlotte, North Carolina, to pick up my baby these light up Skechers that she'd been wanting. I had to get them for her. It was her fucking birthday. So let me get my baby these fucking light up Skechers she been wanting. Y'all kids are simpler than we think. $30, but I'll move on. Inside the mall, I'm seeing all these black folks. This is the time I was in the parking lot. Black folk with their green glasses on, green hats, green ties, green t-shirts. Kiss me, I'm Irish. All this bullshit going on in the mall, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, damn, we really are lost fucking people. I know we was on our Wakanda shit last month, or about a month ago now. People been acting like they still about that life. I have a hard time believing people about that Wakanda life, and then turn around and put on green in the honor of somebody named Saint Patrick, and you could just look at his picture and see that he's full of shit. But I'll move on here. We're gonna talk about that here in a minute. I go to Chuck E. Cheese. Sidebar on Chuck E. Cheese. We go to the Chuck E. Cheese in Greensboro. Sidebar on Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese, what the fuck are y'all doing, man? Y'all know damn well them places be too fucking packed for y'all to keep building facilities that are that fucking small. Like it makes no sense that I have to step over and around all these goddamn people and kids and lines up for the shit you win the goddamn tickets in. They got this 1930s ticket counting machine. They ain't stepped into 2018 yet. Clearly they making money because it's always packed. They need to come up with a goddamn better system to count them fucking tickets so it don't take so goddamn long. You got lines forming inside of a place that ain't even big enough for the people that's in that motherfucker already. God damn, I hate Chuck E. Cheese. I don't like that shit. It's too goddamn small. But I'll digress. Inside of Chuck E. Cheese, I'm seeing black parents in there with their kids in green. Kiss me, I'm Irish. Hmm. And y'all hear a lot of black folk, and all I can do is shake my head. You hear a lot of black folk claim that they are Irish, right? And you got to understand that to be Irish, you only have to be a native of Ireland. Doesn't take a whole lot to do that. Let's go through this history with St. Patrick. Let's go through the history with old St. Patrick and see how he got here, what happened, where he came from. I'm going to start off here. I'm using their websites to put this information out here. I'm going to read this a little bit here. It says here, first of all, St. Patrick died on March 17th, 461. And it says here he wasn't even Irish. You can actually look this information up. He was not Irish. He was not born here. I'll go on. It says Patrick's birth name was Maywin. He was born in Roman Britain. He was kidnapped into slavery and brought to Ireland. He escaped to a monastery in Gaul, France, and converted to Christianity. He went back to Ireland in 432 as a missionary while Christianity had already taken hold in the country. Tradition has it that Patrick confronted the Druids at Tara and abolished their pagan rites, making Christianity more widespread. Patrick became a bishop, and after his death was named Ireland's patron saint. Celebrations in Ireland were understated, though. When the Irish immigrated to the U.S., they created the bigger celebrations and parades known today. 18th century Irish soldiers who fought in the Revolutionary War held the first St. Patrick's Day parades. The celebrations became a way for the Irish to connect with their roots after they moved to America. So this is nothing but a religious zealot that was kidnapped into slavery. He brought to Ireland after that, converted to Christianity, and decided to take his show on the goddamn road, like many of these religious zealot murdering motherfuckers. Now, in this piece of history here, talks about the Druids. They're not important to the story. These is white folk that was up there. They're not important to the story. What is important to the story is that he is known and got to be known for driving snakes out of Ireland. Snakes now. That's what the man said. This is a Christian dude. This is the story he created. This is the depiction of his old white saintly ass. Says here, St. Patrick's Day, which is celebrated worldwide on March 17th honors St. Patrick, the Christian missionary who supposedly rid Ireland of snakes during the 5th century AD. According to legend, the patron saint of Ireland chased the slithering reptiles into the sea after they began attacking him during a 40-day fast he undertook on top of a hill. This is what he's known for, getting rid of snakes in Ireland. Well, let's continue. It says here, it's admittedly an unlikely tale. Ireland is one of only a handful of places worldwide, including New Zealand, Iceland, Greenland, and Antarctica, uh, that snakes can't even go. They're too cold, basically, is what they're saying here. Snakes can't even live in no damn Ireland. So this motherfucker ain't chased no snakes out of Ireland. Let's continue with the history here. It says that here. You can look this information up. He didn't chase no goddamn snakes out of Ireland. It's too goddamn cold. Snakes do not live in the cold. Anybody with some sense knows snakes don't live in the cold. Let's continue here, though. Let's talk about the Twa people. Some of you may not know who the Twa were. Let's do a little research here, do a little reading on who the Twa was. Says, historical research strongly suggests that the Twa may have been the first humans to live in Northern Ireland, and they were there long before the Druids and the influence of the Roman Catholic Church. Some trace their history to over 10,000 years BC. The Twa, these are African people. Understand that. Pygmy African people. Short African people. I'll continue. Says here, other cultures migrated to Ireland in later times, mostly from the Middle East and Eastern Europe. A gene study led by Dan Bradley of the Trinity College in Dublin traces the origin of the ancient Irish genomes to Spain and Sardinia. Other ancestry was found to have originated in a region now known as Russia and the Ukraine. Consequently, we found that as proud as the Irish are about their heritage, they appear to be a genetic mix of people from throughout Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. The only true Irish heritage may be traced to the Twa people who still inhabit the jungles in various parts of Africa. Now, what this is telling you is that black folk were there first. Black folk were there first. Other people came about later. I'll continue. Says, so if the Twa people or the Twa Pygmy people were the first settlers, why are there none living in Ireland today? Believe it or not, we have St. Patrick to thank for that. The old story of St. Patrick driving the snakes out of Ireland appears to be a twisted version of a mass genocide Patrick led against the Twa. It is said that the Twa wore a Uranus, a particular hat showing a snake image, which is also found on the heads of the images of the kings and queens of ancient Egypt. If you don't know what a Uranus, I could be saying that wrong, but if you don't know what a Uranus is, I'll show you. You've seen it, even if you don't know that you know what it is. It's this. The snake here on the heads of pharaohs. The Twa people wore this. When your boy St. Patrick got fame for driving snakes out of Ireland, there were no snakes in Ireland. They were an African people, the Twa, that wore this on for a headdress as well. They wore the snake as the headdress. And you know, in African tradition and cultures, the snake isn't looked at as the evil serpent like the Bible tries to make the snake seem to be after tricking Eve into eating the goddamn apple. Right? That's the image that the Bible paints of the snake. This motherfucker, St. Patrick, now is not only a Christian, so he's a Christian zealot going to push Christianity all over, but he's also lied about pushing snakes out of Ireland. Wasn't no snakes there. There were people that had on a snake on their garb, the Twa people. Let's look at some images of the Twa people. I'm going to pull some images up of the Twa people. Let me pull it up right here. I'll pull it up just so y'all can see. Who are we talking about? I'm just going to look at some images. Let's look at some images here. Y'all can see that? These is Twa people. Twa people from Africa who migrated to Ireland over 10,000 years ago possessed advanced knowledge of metallurgy and medicine, which Caucasians thought to be magical. This is where you get your stories of these goddamn leprechauns. It had nothing to do with the little white man in a fucking weird dumbass hat being magical. It was based on the African peoples who migrated to Ireland, who ran Ireland. The Twa people, Northern Ireland. Here you go. They got the leprechaun story from these short black people here. Colonizer, right here. When you celebrate St. Patrick's Day, you're celebrating a liar, and a Christian who went and forced Christianity all over Ireland. It says here, I'll read this paragraph from Wikipedia now. Wikipedia. I'm going to read this paragraph here, Wikipedia. It says St. Patrick's Day is a public holiday in the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador. My apology. And the British overseas territory of Montserrat. It is also widely celebrated by the Irish diaspora around the world, especially in the United Kingdom, Canada, United States, Brazil, Argentina, Australia, and New Zealand. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated in more countries than any other national festival. I'll say that again. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated in more countries than any other national festival. Again, this is the celebration of a man who claimed he drove snakes out of Ireland, and which was commit an act of genocide against the Twa people in Ireland. Then he continued to commit acts of genocide against his own people. Anybody that wasn't down with Christianity, he drove the Druids out as well. This is white folks, so I won't hang that on him. But what he did was, and what many of these Christian saints did was, they ran around pushing Christianity and murdering people in the name of Jesus. That's what he celebrated for. Forcing Christianity to a people. Murdering one group of people completely because they were black. Lying about driving snakes out of Ireland. They can't even be up there in Ireland. And then pushing Christianity. Black people, what reason do you have? Even if you believe, and this is what black folk will say to me. They'll say, well, I got Irish in me. Okay, fine. Even if you have Irish in you, what sense does it make for you to celebrate a saint, which they made him a saint, that committed an act of genocide against African peoples? I don't give a damn if you Irish or not. You're celebrating a racist Christian religious zealot and a lying motherfucker at that. So this is what y'all are celebrating. It doesn't matter if you're from Ireland. I would argue that anybody that's non-racist, these non-racist whites, they shouldn't even be celebrating this shit. If you look at the history and the reason it is celebrated, they shouldn't be celebrating this shit. But black people worry me the most because it seems like we don't care where stuff comes from. We say any goddamn thing, do any goddamn thing just to fit in. As a part of the traditions of the people, the dominant society. This is the most celebrated festival in the world. And this motherfucker, St. Patrick, committed acts of genocide against black people. How? How y'all black people cool with this? How y'all okay? Every year I got to see y'all motherfuckers in green. Every year I have to see you talking about some kiss you Irish. Every year you trying to get drunk. Because the legend goes that on St. Patrick's Day, the church lifted its basic judgment of how much you ate and how much you got drunk. So this is where the drinking comes from. Let's say the three-leaf clover came from him tying us, St. Patrick himself tied the three-leaf clover into explaining the Holy Trinity. That's what he used. The Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. That's the three-leaf clover. That's what it represents. That little leprechaun, that story is jacked from Twa people. The African people that were there that was murdered existed there before anybody else. They were murdered. All of them. And y'all black folks still run around celebrating this shit. So, I had somebody ask me on Facebook, they say, well, Robert, you gonna make a video about this shit? And I said I wasn't gonna do it. I did. I said, I ain't even gonna waste my fucking time. But when I saw how black people was out here acting fresh off Wakanda today, and I had to see it in Charlotte at Concord Mills Mall, and then I go to Chuck E. Cheese in Greensboro, and black people doing the same shit. Doesn't matter where we are, we somewhere being a part of some ignorant bullshit. This is a holiday. Y'all black folk don't need to do this shit. The same way that we realize the truth behind Christopher fuckboy, bitch ass, hoe ass, racist ass, genocidal maniac ass. We figured out the truth about him. So we said, hell nah. I'm not teaching my kids to glorify this. Well, stop teaching your goddamn kids to glorify St. Patrick. Because it's the same bullshit. This motherfucker committed acts of genocide against your people and forced Christianity on everybody else. There's nothing to fucking celebrate here, black people. Open your fucking mind. You don't have to trust me. You don't even have to trust the screenshot video. Go do the research yourself and care. Don't just read shit. I get tired of y'all black folk just reading shit and still conducting yourself in the same fucking ignorant ass way. Don't just read it. Apply it. It doesn't make any sense to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but you don't fuck with Christopher Columbus. You don't fuck with him. You're not going to dress one of your kids up like Christopher Columbus, but all y'all black folk wearing green because you claim you from Ireland now. And even if you do got Irish blood, it doesn't matter if you live there or if you're from there, you got heritage connected to that island. You don't celebrate St. Patrick. You say fuck society on that one. You stick your middle finger up at society on that one, black people. That's what you do. Whether you Irish or not. You stick your middle finger up at a tradition that will have you celebrate the genocide of your own fucking people. That's stupid. About as dumb as a goddamn Native American celebrating Thanksgiving. It's stupid. It makes no sense. That's all the fuck I want to say, y'all. Y'all comment if you feel need to comment. I'm just tired of seeing black people be this ignorant. It makes no sense to me at this point. Not in the age of information that we're in. It don't take a whole lot. A couple clicks and you got information. You got to connect dots a little bit. You do have to do that because then you're still reading off of white websites. Because if you notice the story I read, it said that he didn't drive snakes out of Ireland, but it didn't say that he committed acts of genocide against the Twa people who were there, who had those snakes on for their headdress. That was an African tradition, something that African royalty did. They didn't say anything about that. You have to keep doing research to connect all the dots together. He drove snakes out, all right, but it came in the form of an act of genocide against the Twa peoples that had already inhabited that area that they call Ireland now. That's all the fuck I want to say. Y'all comment if you need to comment. It's your motherfucking man's name, y'all. I'm out.